What we discussed in the last class, anything to ask about that? Any question? कुछ पूछना है?
नहीं नहीं सर, मैं कर लिया था।
ओके,
कोई डाउट्स नहीं है।
रिकॉर्डिंग आप किए थे है ना?
ना ना, मैं लाइव क्लास में था।
नहीं, फिर भी रिकॉर्डिंग करना होएगा. If you were there in the live class, maybe the first class was not so much thing we are discussing. But
हम्म।
normally जब आप लाइव क्लास करेंगे रिकॉर्डिंग करने के बाद उसमें जो कराया गया वो फिर से करेंगे और फिर क्लास अटेंड करेंगे.
ठीक है, ओके।
लास्ट दिन तो होमवर्क था नहीं, बिकॉज
हम्म।
व्हाट आई शुड से, since I was basically discussing for different exams, different structure, and then we just discuss the format of the financial statement. But जब आप आगे बढ़ेंगे, you will realize if you are not studying on your own, even after the live class, you will not be able to recollect and you will not be able to perform.
श्योर।
ठीक है, तो जरूरी है सर. नो प्रॉब्लम. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. This is not a part of anything. It is just a general discussion the way we were discussing in the last class. Types of business structure. That means to run a business. Maybe you open a sole proprietorship. I can use the word sole proprietorship. Maybe you can enter into partnership with one or two persons, maybe more than that. You can form a company. Nowadays, there is a one man company also, solo company also. What is the purpose of different types of structure? Why we require? Generally, whenever we start a new business, anything, whether it's a trading, whether it's some manufacturing, whether it's agriculture, anything. Whenever we start a new business and we are not very famous, we are not known to others, हम लोग एकदम नॉर्मल वे में अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट करते हैं और उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप. मे बी इन द बिगिनिंग यू डोंट हैव स्टाफ ऑल्सो. You are the staff, you are the manager, you are the owner, everything you are. Suppose I will say that I am starting a new business of providing training classes. I have never taught anything. This is the first day I am starting, suppose. So I know that how I will get the students on the first day. I will not. So I started the business in the name of Prakash Saraf only. Actually, I have not given any name only. I have just started my work and I have not given any name to my business. It is in the name of Prakash Saraf only, which I did 30 years back. Prakash Saraf is the person who is starting training classes, and that you can say is a business. In case of sole proprietorship, which is you are starting the business in your own name, the liability and assets of the business and the liability and assets of the person who is the business owner are not separate. The separate entity is not relevant in case of sole proprietorship. That means suppose if in the business there are some liabilities and the business assets are not sufficient to pay off those liabilities, then the owner personal assets will be used to pay off those liabilities. There is no distinction in the eyes of the law between a businessman as a owner and the business. Either you say Indian Companies Act, Indian law, or any law in the world. There is no difference in the eyes of the law when the business is run as a sole proprietorship. But in accounting, it is always there. In accounting, business and businessman are separate, even though it is sole proprietorship. Normally, in sole proprietorship, when we run business in practical world, I personally feel that there is not so much difference between this is business assets, this is personal assets and all that. The people running the sole proprietorship, so they don't distinguish so much. Because in the eyes of the law, Prakash Saraf business is same. If I am doing anything, that is actually Prakash Saraf. Because anyhow, business, whether it's a company partnership, it's an artificial, there is nobody. Prakash Saraf is the person. But Prakash Saraf business is nobody. and Prakash Saraf business will be managed by Prakash Saraf only. So ultimately, in the eyes of the law, they don't distinguish between Prakash Saraf and Prakash Saraf business at all. It is good also, it is bad also. It is good also in the sense that when you are doing your business, you don't need to see whether the bill is in the name of Prakash Saraf or Prakash Saraf proprietor, whether it is this, that. While doing anything, you don't need to take tension. But then problem is that in the business, if any problem happens, your whole personal assets are liable. You are not independent. Everything, whatever you have in your personal name, they are responsible or they are subjective to meet the obligations of the business. And when we grow a business, we know that the growth of business cannot be managed by one person. Maybe you are very knowledgeable, but you have limited time, two hands, two eyes and all that. You can't work beyond 24 hours. Even we cannot work for 24 hours also. Then we think that to grow the business, either we need to convert it into partnership or beginning only we start as a partnership. Suppose me and you starting a business and the name of the firm, Prakash Indradeep Firm. Prakash Indradeep Firm. And that firm is separate than you and me. Our individuality is separate and the firm is separate. Again, in the eyes of the law, unless and until the partnership is registered like a company, the partnership assets, liabilities, and the personal assets and liabilities of Indradeep and Prakash will not be different. For the liabilities of the partnership firm, Prakash and Indradeep will be responsible personally. If we register, like we register a company in company law board and all that, we register a number. And if we register a partnership firm, then we can say that the partnership assets and liabilities are different than the partner's assets and liabilities. But in that case also, even though it's a different, but when the partnership firm is insolvent, in the eyes of the law, even though it is different, for the partnership firm liability, the partners are personally liable, even though it's registered, then also. What is the meaning of registered? If you are registered, you can file a case, somebody can file a case against you, against the firm. But if you are not registered, you cannot take any legal action against any other person. Maybe a supplier, maybe a staff, maybe a customer, maybe any other organization, because you are not registered. In the eyes of the law, you are not identified. You are identified by Prakash Saraf only. So businessman always, whether it's sole proprietorship, whether it's partnership, like for sole proprietorship in personal life, we take trade license. Even though Prakash Saraf and Prakash Saraf business is one only, but we take trade license in the name of Prakash Saraf business. In the name of partnership, we take a trade license. That trade license depends upon an office, maybe rented office, what business you will be doing, the nature of the business need to be explained, and then the government will register you as a trade, as a business. Once you registered as a trade, then you will be able to legally fight in the name of the business with anybody else. Otherwise, not. So it is always advisable that we have a trade license or a registered partnership firm. But the partnership and sole proprietorship business liabilities, the personal assets of the sole proprietor, the personal assets of the partners are liable to meet those obligations. Company is totally different. Like I have Saraf Gurukul Private Limited. Saraf Academy is the brand name. The name of the legal entity is Saraf Gurukul Private Limited. I am the shareholder. My wife is the shareholder. We are the owner of the company. We have 50-50% share. So we are the owner of the company. But for the liabilities of the company, shareholder Prakash and Vidisha will not be liable personally. Company is, even though an artificial, like in sole proprietor partnership, but the company has a legal entity existence. And the company's assets are separate, company's liabilities are separate, and the company's liabilities, if suppose you have anything receivable from Saraf Gurukul Private Limited, and Saraf Gurukul don't have money to pay you, me and my wife, Prakash and Vidisa, shareholder of the company, cannot be held personally liable for those liabilities. So there is a clear distinction between assets and liabilities of a company and the assets and liabilities of the shareholder personally. No relationship. From a company, I cannot take any assets, any money like anything. There are so many changes in the company law in India and other places also. Suppose I am taking from Saraf Academy, Saraf Gurukul Private Limited, monthly remuneration 2 lakh rupees. Whatever Saraf Academy is earning, and I am getting monthly remuneration from Saraf Academy 2 lakh rupees. I cannot take the monthly remuneration in advance. That is support for the month of November, I will take the remuneration now. I cannot. I cannot take any advance from the company because the money of the company not belongs to the owners. The money of the company belongs to the company for the company's liabilities and all that. So there are so many clauses relating to company structure. And in case of company, the income tax return of the company and the owners are separate. In case of sole proprietorship, the income tax return of the business and the owner will be combined. In case of partnership also it is separate if it is registered. But in case of company always. Suppose I am the shareholder of Reliance Industry. I am the owner. Ambani also the shareholder. He is also the owner. I am the owner. But thus Reliance Industry is different and Prakash Saraf as a shareholder owner is different. Reliance Industry have their own assets, own liability, own obligation, everything. Prakash Saraf personally has their own assets, liability. For the Reliance Industries obligations, liabilities, Prakash Saraf will not be held responsible. Why this structure is there in the world? Not now for 200, 300, I don't remember when the company structure arises. In a company, generally there are many shareholders. In my company, there are two. In bigger companies, there are many shareholders. Everybody is not managing the company. Everybody is not going to the company every day as a staff, nothing. I am never going to Reliance Industry for anything, just an investor. So if there will be any problem in the company because of anything, I have not done that wrong. Why I will be held responsible? So I am a totally different person. Even though I am the owner of Reliance Industry, I am the shareholder, but I am not responsible for anything which is happening in the company. Even though I am the director of the company, like in Saraf Gurukul, I am the director. My wife is the director. Still, we are not responsible personally for the company's liabilities. The company is creating a separate, I mean to say, big difference between the business and the owner. Owner is separate, business is separate. Now there may be cases because one man company and all that arises just recently 5-7 years back. It was not there when I did professional courses in 97, 98 and all that. It arises, I don't remember, around 2015 and all that. One man company means in case of accounts for everything there is a legal entity concept. In accounts, even the sole proprietor and the business are separate. Partnership, partners and business are separate. Company to in the legal also and in the accounts also. I am just discussing what is happening in the world because there is a general discussion in your curriculum, whether it's CIMA, whether it's ACCA, whether it's FMAA, any course. Business structure, which is a part of business organization, not accounts, but some basic explanation they have given, and we should also be knowing this. For that reason, I am explaining. So we can say that legal entity concept and all that, but what is the meaning of that concept? You will say legal entity concept, but if you are not able to explain legal entity concept, then it's a problem. And in ACCA, financial accounting syllabus, in exam, 1 or 2 questions will be coming from here. So in 2015, I don't remember exactly 15, maybe 16 or 14, one man company concept arises. That means normally in a company, more than one person should be there, 2, 3, 5, 10, 5,000, 5 crore, whatever. But one man company concept is also there all over the world. I will make a company in which the shareholder is only Prakash Saraf, no other. One man company. In a company, for the company liability, the shareholder will not be responsible, even in one man company also. If I am doing a sole proprietorship business, then you understand that in a sole proprietorship business, the business and the proprietor are one. But in one man company, even the one man is different than the company. He is managing. Obviously, here there are more and more responsibility on that one man, like a sole proprietor, but it is not like a normal company. I have not made any one man company and all that, but many professional persons advise me, sir, why don't you convert your company into one man company? Well, why, sir? So that you will be able to take any money from your company. Because if it is a Saraf Gurukul Private Limited, then I am not allowed to take any money from the company as per law. But if it is one man company, or I will convert it into a, what we say, limited liability company, non-limited liability company, then I can take any money from my company. So there are some different clauses in the Companies Act relating to one man company, but that is also there in the world. In all these cases, the purpose is that how you want to run the business. If you are very small, very nascent, very new, then maybe you don't want to form a company. There is a formation expenditure, article, memorandum. There are registration costs, huge thing. But if you are a small person, just start your business as a proprietorship, or maybe with somebody as a partnership. And when you will grow, then convert that business into a company. Or if you are very famous and all that, then you can start your business in the beginning only as a company. It's upon you, sir. In different organization structure, business structure, the legal guidelines are different. But in case of accounting, in all the four cases or any other case, the business is different and the business owner are different. That means what I mean to say, in accounting, separate entity concept is there in all the forms, but in legal way, proprietor and business are same, and for the liability of business, proprietor will be responsible. In case of partnership, if it's not registered, it's the same story. But if it is registered, we can say normally the proprietor partners are not liable. But in case of insolvency, even in registered partnership, the partners are liable. But in case of company, not. In case of company, we always use the word limited liability. That you are indebted to the company as a shareholder if the shares which you are having are not fully paid up. Suppose a company issue shares of 100 rupees. You have paid 100 rupees to the company for the share. Your job is over. Anything happen in the company, any liability, you are not responsible. But if the shares in the company are not fully paid up, 100 rupees share, you pay 20, 30 only, balance money is still payable. Then for that balance money, what I should say, for the balance money, you will be responsible because the shares are not fully paid up. So we say that limited liability company, you are liable till the value of the shares. Once the share value fully paid up, You are not liable for any liability of the company. And if the shares are not fully paid up, to the extent it is not fully paid up, you will be liable. But your personal assets will never be responsible for the liability of the company. When we make business, when we do business, what type of structure we will follow depends upon our requirement, depends upon our brand, goodwill, depends upon our experience, and different types of business structure we follow, we make. In the whole world, sole proprietorship business is maximum. Because whenever you start any business, any hawker in Kolkata or anywhere, they are all sole proprietor. Maybe they are not made any trade license for their business. They are running the business in their own individual name only. कोई license फाइसेंस कुछ नहीं लिए, भरती है ऐसे लोग. कंपनी कम है, लेकिन कंपनी भी there are many companies are there in the world. In India, अच्छा 1 second. In India, we say two types of companies: private limited and public limited. Public limited. Private limited company means Saraf Gurukul Private Limited, my company. Saraf Gurukul Private Limited. In India, we need to mention the word it is private. Public limited means there are many, just Reliance Industries Limited. That means we don't need to use the word public limited. We don't need to say it is public limited. If it is private limited, we need to mention it is a private limited. What is private? The shareholders of a private company are the private persons, 1 or 2, 5, 10. It is not going to issue shares in the general public. But the public limited company has given shares or issued shares in the general public. The public limited companies are very big. In UK or public company, we say PLC. PLC means public limited company. PLC means public limited company. And private means company. You don't need to say PLC. You understand that in India, just ulta. For private limited, we need to mention it is private limited. For public limited, we don't need to mention. It's just a limit. But in UK, for public limited company, we need to use the word PLC. But for private, it is just the name of the company. Just the company. You don't need to use PLC. Since ACCA, CIMA and all that are UK courses, maybe they will mention PLC, you will think private limited like in India. In UK, PLC means public limited company. But private does not mention PLC. Just mention a company, limited, whatever word you say. They cannot mention PLC word. Our focus of the entire syllabus is on, what I should say, company structure. Sole proprietorship, partnership are less only. But just that, a basic how we do the business, what type of structure we follow, what type of constitution we follow, whether in India or anywhere in the world. These are the constitution or structure. For ACCA student, in the exam kit, the first 5-7 questions are relating to this. Maybe I could have skipped that, but it is better that if we just basic understanding develop that what are the types of business structures are there in the world. Normally students are, if 10 pass out, 11, 12 और undergraduate सभी ने ये पढ़ा है. बट फिर भी क्या है कि अपने सिलेबस में, as I said in the last class also, I am assuming zero knowledge. We are discussing everything from the base. We cannot leave anything. So we are discussing everything from basics, assuming हम लोग को सब कुछ शुरू से ही पढ़ना है. हम लोग को कोई भी चीज छोड़ना नहीं. मैं इसका क्वेश्चन में नहीं जा रहा हूं. When we will be solving other areas जब पढ़ लेंगे तो इसका क्वेश्चन भी मैं करा दूंगा. अभी
सर एक क्वेश्चन था।
बोलिए सर।
बेसिकली मैं जहाँ पे काम करता हूँ उधर पे कुछ एंटिटी के ऊपर काम करना पड़ता है, तो मैं देखता हूँ कि लाइक यूएस बेस्ड कंपनी है ये सब। तो उधर पे ओनर्स सिंगल है, सिंगल शेयर होल्डर,
हाँ।
एंड दे यूज एलएलसी, लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी कंपनी। तो लाइक इसके बारे में कुछ
माने वन मैन
तो,
कंपनी में भी लिमिटेड और नॉन लिमिटेड। लिमिटेड मतलब आपका लाइबिलिटी बिजनेस के अगेंस्ट में एक लिमिटेड रहेगा।
अच्छा,
बिजनेस में कुछ
ओके,
प्रॉब्लम होगा, आपको उससे ज्यादा पैसा नहीं देना है। तो
ओके,
वन कंपनी में भी दोनों तरह का कंपनी बनने लग गया है, लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी और नॉन लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी। नॉर्मल कंपनी में भी लिमिटेड नॉन लिमिटेड दोनों होता है। लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी मींस you are be limited in respect of the debt of the company to the extent of certain amount,
अच्छा,
not beyond
ओके,
that. But non-limited means you will be responsible for the liability of the company to any extent, to any amount.
ओके, अच्छा,
तो नॉर्मली कंपनी बनाने का पर्पस ही होता है लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी, कि हम चाहते हैं कि मेरा अपना अलग रहे, कंपनी का सब अलग रहे। कंपनी में कोई भी प्रॉब्लम हो तो हमारा लाइबिलिटी एक हद तक हो, उसके अलावा हम अपना पर्सनल कुछ नहीं देंगे। आदमी कंपनी इसीलिए बनाता है कि उसको अपना पर्सनल और कंपनी को सब अलग रखना है। नहीं तो प्रोप्राइटरशिप और पार्टनरशिप में तो हो ही रहा है ना बिजनेस। उसमें तो आपका पर्सनल कुछ है नहीं, सब कुछ आपको बिजनेस के लिए देना पड़ेगा। लेकिन कंपनी के अंदर ये फायदा है कि आपका पर्सनल कुछ भी है, कंपनी उसके ऊपर कोई राइट नहीं रखता है।
ओके,
सो वी यूज द वर्ड, not now. It's maybe when I started study before that also, there are two types of company, limited liability and non-limited को बोलना नहीं पड़ता है, limited liability बोले उसके अलावा बोलना। तो limited liability means your liability for the business of the company to a limited extent, maybe an amount, maybe based on value of shares. एंड नॉन लिमिटेड मीन्स आपका लाइबिलिटी अनलिमिटेड है, जैसे सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप, कि बिजनेस में कोई प्रॉब्लम होगा, आपका पर्सनल सबका सब चीज रिस्पॉन्सिबल है उसके लिए। कंपनी में यही फायदा है कि आप अपना लिमिटेड कंपनी बनाइए, कंपनी में जो भी हो रहा है आपका पर्सनल एसेट्स उसके लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं है। फॉर दैट रीजन वी यूज द वर्ड लिमिटेड। सभी जगह देखिए, प्राइवेट लिमिटेड भी, पीएलसी, पब्लिक लिमिटेड, सब जगह तो लिमिटेड वर्ड एल तो कॉमन ही है। बिकॉज कंपनी का पर्पज ही है ना कि कंपनी में जो भी प्रॉब्लम होगा हम उसके लिए पर्सनली लाइबल नहीं होंगे।
ओके सर।
तो जब कंपनी बनता है पर्पस ही होता है, हम तो कोई कंपनी को देखा ही नहीं जिसका नॉन लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी कंपनी है ही नहीं कोई। होएगा, हम नहीं बोल रहा, हम अपना जीवन में कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया है कि आई केम अक्रॉस एनी कंपनी वेयर द लाइबिलिटी इज अनलिमिटेड। आई हैव नॉट कम अक्रॉस एनी कंपनी प्रैक्टिकली। लॉ में लिखा हुआ है बट होता ही नहीं है वैसा सर। बिकॉज फिर हमको कंपनी बनाने का जरूरत ही क्या है? फिर तो हम सोल प्रोप्राइटर से, बिकॉज कंपनी बनाएंगे आपके ऊपर झमेला बहुत है ना, लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज बहुत है। और सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप पर लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज कुछ भी नहीं। तो जब मेरे को लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी बनाना ही नहीं है तो सोल प्रोप्राइटर से बिजनेस करते हैं ना, क्या जरूरत है कंपनी वगैरह बनाने की? कंपनी बनाने का पर्पज ये है कि वी नीड टू मेक इट लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी, कि फॉर द लाइबिलिटी ऑफ द कंपनी आई एम द ओनर, आई विल नॉट बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर एवरीथिंग। My liability in respect of the company's obligations will be limited. That is the purpose of any company structure of business. Now, accounting for transactions. अब अभी तक हम लोग क्या पढ़े हैं? बेसिक फॉर्मेट, पीएल अकाउंट, बैलेंस शीट, नोट्स बने, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ चेंजेस इन इक्विटी का फॉर्मेट, और एक बार ऐसे ही चालू किया, डिस्कस किया डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फॉर्म्स ऑफ बिजनेस। Now we want to discuss how any transaction, whether it's a company, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a individual proprietor, ट्रांजेक्शन को बुक्स में रिकॉर्ड करते कब हैं, कैसे रिकॉर्ड करते हैं, क्या अकाउंटिंग होता है, वो समझ रहे हैं। एज्यूमिंग आपने कभी अकाउंट्स पढ़ा ही नहीं तो आपको कुछ सोचने की जरूरत नहीं। इफ यू स्टडीड अकाउंट्स इन द पास्ट, वेरी वेल। इफ यू हैव नॉट स्टडीड, वेरी वेरी वेल। ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम। वी आर सेइंग रिकॉग्निशन, मेजरमेंट, प्रेजेंटेशन, डिस्क्लोजर्स। इफ यू स्टडी अकाउंट्स नाउ और यू स्टडी अकाउंट्स फॉर 50 years, बस ये चार ही चीज अकाउंट्स में पढ़ा जाता है: रिकग्निशन, मेजरमेंट, प्रेजेंटेशन, डिस्क्लोजर। रिकग्निशन का मतलब यू, सिंपल मीनिंग, रिकग्नाइजिंग द ट्रांजेक्शन एंड टू बी रिकॉर्डेड। ट्रांजेक्शन अराइज हुआ है, आपको उसको रिकॉर्ड करना। टू रिकॉर्ड you need to have the value of the transaction। वैल्यू नहीं होगा तो रिकॉर्ड कहां से करेंगे? प्रेजेंटेशन, वेयर एंड अंडर विच हेडिंग वी विल present we will present in financial statement। फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट मतलब पीएल अकाउंट, बैलेंस शीट, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ चेंज। आप उसको पीएल अकाउंट, बैलेंस शीट कहां पर दिखाओगे? कौन सा हेडिंग में, कहां पर? डिस्क्लोजर, एनी explanation on that in notes to accounts। Any explanation on that in the notes to accounts? When I discussed last class, I have not discussed any disclosures. And I said that at your level, in operational level, in CIMA, at ACCA knowledge level, this disclosure part is very less in the syllabus. Some portion is there, but it is very less. The major part we have recognition, measurement, and presentation. But wherever the disclosure is there, I will discuss. Don't worry. Whatever we will discuss, we always keep in mind the format of PL account, balance sheet, statement of changes in equity, and all that, because that will help you to understand the concept better. Now, recognition. Maybe there is some, this is something I have written, but we need to understand with example. What do we mean by recognition? What do we mean by finding out the value? Where, how to represent, how to present that? डिस्क्लोजर्स तो अभी कुछ नहीं बात कर पाएंगे, धीरे धीरे करेंगे, बट फिर भी ये चार चीज ही अकाउंट्स हमको बताता है। सपोज बाइबल, गीता, मैं गीता की कसम खाता हूं, मैं सत्य कहूंगा, सत्य के सिवा कुछ नहीं कहूंगा। आप गीता पूरा पढ़े नहीं है, लेकिन आप गीता के ऊपर हाथ रख के कसम खाते हो। कुरान, बाइबल, एनी, सब में एक ही बात लिखा होगा सर, अपना अपना लैंग्वेज है, अपना अपना सोचने का तरीका है। ये अकाउंट्स का बाइबल है, ये अकाउंट्स का गीता है, दिस इज अकाउंट्स का कुरान। अकाउंट्स का कुरान बोल रहा है रिकॉग्निशन, मेजरमेंट, प्रेजेंटेशन, डिस्क्लोजर। आपको इस कुरान को समझना है, जो कि केवल इस क्लास में नहीं होएगा। इस क्लास मतलब इस पूरा धीरे धीरे करके अलग अलग लेवल पे समझना पड़ेगा, बट स्टार्ट करते उसको समझना। मान लीजिए आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट सराफ एकेडमी। बोलेगा हर समय अपना बात करने लग जाते हैं। सर मैंने पहले भी बोला, मेरे को अपना बात करने का कोई मन जरूरी नहीं। हम पूछेंगे आप कहाँ काम करते, अविंद्रदीप बोलेगा आई एम वर्किंग देयर। तन आई मीन टू से तनवीर बोलेगा सर आई एम नॉट वर्किंग। मंकलाल बोलेगा आई एम नॉट वर्किंग। मालूम नहीं है कौन कहाँ काम कर रहा है, बिकॉज जनरली द स्टूडेंट्स आर नॉट वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल इन दिस बैच, दे ऑल आर प्योर स्टूडेंट्स। फिर मेरे को पूछना पड़ेगा आपका मम्मी पापा कहाँ काम करते हैं, क्या बिजनेस, बहुत झमेला आएगा। इसीलिए हम अपना एग्जाम्पल ले रहे हैं, और या रिलायंस, आईटीसी, ये सब लेते रहेंगे जो जो है। तो सराफ एकेडमी का एग्जाम्पल ले रहे हैं। सपोज मंकल ज्वाइंड ट्रेनिंग क्लासेस इन सराफ एकेडमी। मंकल ने हम लोग के यहाँ ट्रेनिंग क्लासेस ज्वाइन किया। आई डोंट रिमेंबर वेदर ही ज्वाइन फॉर एसीसी और सीमा। मान लीजिए उन्होंने एसीसीए ज्वाइन किया, ठीक है, उन्होंने फीस दिया 42,999। फीस ये है, लेकिन ही हैज गिवन 20,000 एडवांस, बैलेंस ड्यू, बैलेंस ड्यू इन 10 days, ठीक है। Mankal joined the training classes in Saraf Academy. The fees for ECC knowledge level 42,999. He paid 20,000. He joined the classes and he said that he will be paying balance in next 10 days. ठीक है, उन्होंने बोला कि वो बैलेंस 10 दिनों के बाद देंगे। This is one transaction arises in Saraf Academy. There are many transactions like that. This is just an example. When he joined the classes, he made the payment. So in our bank account, we received this money. He mailed with the receipt of amount deposited that he has made the payment for the classes. We have given him the study material and we have given him the live classes link and all that. The happening is there in the company. For any transaction, कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन, कोई भी चीज हो रहा है, उसके बारे में आप काम करना चालू कर दिए, आपको उसका वैल्यू मालूम है, आप उसको रिकॉर्ड करोगे। कैसे? बात की बात। सेकंड एग्जांपल, थोड़ा सा खराब बात करना पड़ रहा है बट नो ऑप्शन। सपोज, नहीं, सही बात कर रहे हैं, वन ऑफ द स्टाफ लेफ्ट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, लेफ्ट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑन 15 November 2025। सच्ची भी, एक जन है जो कल छोड़ दिए हैं, कल उनका लास्ट डे था ऑफिस में, 15 November 2025। There are thousands of things happening in any business. These are just simple example, ठीक है। This can be recorded in books, but this cannot be recorded in books. This cannot be recorded in books. हम लोग सराफ एकेडमी का जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स है, we will be recognizing this, we will be accounting this, but we will not be accounting this. But this is also happened in Saraf Academy. Why we are not recognizing this? Why we are not recording this? And we will be recording this in the books. Why? ऐसा क्यों? क्या बात?
बिकॉज सेकेंड वाले इवेंट में कोई फिनेंशियल इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा बिजनेस के ऊपर, बट इन द फर्स्ट केस आपको पैसा मिल, लाइक बिजनेस इज रिसीविंग मनी एक्चुअली, सो इसमें फिनेंशियल इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है। दैट इज द रीजन द फर्स्ट विल बी recorded and the second will not be recorded.
That is not the reason. Suppose the person who left, he was very important person, and that person when not there, I have not yet arranged the replacement. So for coming days, there will be some work which we will not be able to do in the organization. And because of that, there is a huge financial effect. Then still you will not record this, or you will record.
Sir, as per my understanding, I will not record.
But why? You said the example that there is no financial effect of this. But there is a financial effect of this if the person who left the organization is very important asset, and the person replacement we have not been able to manage, and because of that there are important work we will not be able to perform in Saraf Academy from tomorrow. So there is a good financial effect. So why it will not be recorded, sir? Huh? One
सोच
second.
रहा हूँ सर। नहीं सर, रीजन तो नहीं मालूम चल रहा है, मेरा जस्ट रीजनिंग वही था।
Sorry. What I am saying that even though there is a financial effect of this, what is the value? How I can measure that this will be the financial loss in Saraf Academy because of one of the staff left the organization? How I will find the value? I can't. Suppose in an organization there is a death of the director. You will say there is no financial effect. It's a huge financial effect. Because in Saraf Academy, Prakash will not be there. What will happen to Saraf Academy, sir? You will say there is no financial effect. But how to value that? In books of accounts, you can recognize any transaction when you know the value. The value can need to be estimated many times. I am not questioning. But these types of transactions, when they are arising, they are not giving any confirmed value. And if we start estimating the value for these things and incorporating that in the books, it will be very difficult to prepare to get to know the profit, assets, anything. फिर कोई लिमिट नहीं रहेगा सर। आप कोई भी चीज शुरू में रिकॉग्नाइज करोगे उसका कॉस्ट मालूम होना चाहिए आपको। इन बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स इफ यू डोंट नो द वैल्यू यू कांट रिकॉर्ड। सो इट इज नॉट दैट this we are not recognizing because there is no financial effect. The financial effect is there. We don't know the value, man. Because हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं ये काम नहीं होएगा, उसका वैल्यू कौन करेगा? At the beginning, the transactions will be recorded in the books at cost. At the beginning, whenever any transaction arises, they will be recorded at cost. At the beginning, any transaction will be recorded at cost. आपको उसका वैल्यू मालूम नहीं है तो आप रिकॉर्ड, माने हम लोग बोल रहे हैं रिकग्नाइज करना है, लेकिन आप मेजर ही नहीं कर सकते तो आप रिकग्नाइज करोगे कैसे? If you can't measure the value, how you will recognize, man? So in the second part, the second transaction, I cannot measure. Since I cannot measure, so I am not in a position to recognize. Once recognize, if I want to recognize, I need to have the value. That value, how I will recognize, that we need to understand. नॉर्मली ऐसा हजारों ट्रांजेक्शन है, कोई कस्टमर है हम लोग से सामान लेता था लेकिन अब वो हमसे नहीं लेगा. He was there with us for 5 years. He will not be purchasing goods and services from us. It's a huge loss. You will say no financial effect, huge. वो सामान ही नहीं लेगा, प्रॉफिट ही नहीं होगा, कहां से होएगा? बट उसका वैल्यू क्या निकाले हम? जो सामान वो लेता था वो हम लिख दिए, वट एवर ही हैज टेकन रिटन. अब वो नहीं लेगा, हम कैसे लिखें उसको? हाउ आई विल फाइंड आउट द वैल्यू? If you don't able to find out value for any transaction, you cannot measure the value. You can't record in the books of accounts. जब आप रिकॉर्डिंग करेंगे उसके बाद ये समझ में आएगा कि प्रेजेंटेशन और डिस्क्लोजर्स क्या होता है. अभी हम लोग को समझना पड़ेगा रिकॉर्डिंग. हम ये तो समझ गए कि भैया मेजर नहीं हो सकता तो हम रिकॉर्ड करेंगे ही कैसे. लेकिन अगर मेजर हो सकता है, इफ इट इज मेजरेबल, हाउ आई विल रिकॉर्ड, दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. फॉर
एक कंफ्यूजन था। एक आपने बोला कि हम उसका वैल्यू मेजर नहीं कर सकते,
हाँ
लेकिन क्या ये बोला जा सकता है, हम लोग तो सपोज उसको एक सैलरी देते हैं, ठीक है,
हाँ,
तो वो उसका जो मेजरमेंट था 15,000 या तो 20,000, लाइक बस मेरा माइंड में, लाइक इट कैन इन दिस वे कैन बी सेड कि उसका सैलरी जो मतलब उसको दिया जाता था विच इज इक्विवेलेंट टू हिज वर्क, वो वाला अमाउंट हम लोग का लॉस है या ऐसा कुछ।
इसमें दो तीन बात है। आप अगर कोई स्टाफ को 15,000 सैलरी देते हैं तो आपको उससे बेनिफिट 15,000 ही मिलता है क्या?
ओके।
नॉर्मली आप कहीं भी काम करते हैं, यू आर वर्किंग एंड सपोज यू आर गेटिंग अ सैलरी ऑफ 30,000। द बेनिफिट टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फ्रॉम अ स्टाफ, नॉर्मल कैलकुलेशन इज एटलीस्ट 10 to 20 times। आपको 30,000 रुपया
ओके।
दे रहे हैं तो हमको फायदा 3 लाख का मिलना चाहिए कम से कम। यानी कि
वेरी
आप अगर
ट्रू।
जॉब कर रहे हैं ना, तो आप अपने आप का एफर्ट्स बहुत बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, समझ लीजिए। इफ यू आर वर्किंग एनीवेयर एज एन एम्प्लॉय, you are giving to the organization 10 times, 20 times outcome, but you are getting only 1/10 of that. It's not a joke. I'm saying you can do research.
नहीं, यू आर
हाँ।
वेरी ट्रू सर, दैट इज वेरी ट्रू।
तो हम
प्रैक्टिकल
लोग
वे
को
में तो
तो
बहुत ही ट्रू है।
हाँ, तो हम लोग को तो लॉस 3 लाख निकालना चाहिए, 30,000 क्यों लिखेंगे? दूसरा बात, 30,000 आप सैलरी देंगे तब तो खर्चा लिखेंगे ना। आप बोलेंगे मेरा बेनिफिट लॉस हुआ 30,000, ये तो कोई लॉजिक नहीं हुआ सर। अब ये जो 3 लाख है, क्योंकि वो 6 लाख है कि वो 3 लाख है कि 5 लाख, ये कौन पता लगाएगा सर? तो फिर तो
ट्रू।
बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में आदमी कुछ भी लिखने लगेगा सर, फिर तो कुछ बना
ट्रू,
के
वेरी
मतलब नहीं
ट्रू।
निकलेगा। तो आपको
समझ गए
उसका
सर।
वैल्यू सही से मालूम होना पड़ेगा, तभी आप बुक्स में लिख सकते हैं। आप सेल किए, हमने आपको ट्यूशन, मैंने बोला 42,999 ट्यूशन फीस है, तो हम वो ट्यूशन फीस पैसा नहीं भी दिया लिखेगा, क्रेडिट सेल है, वैल्यू मालूम है। हम सैलरी दिया लिखेगा, हम गुड्स परचेज किया लिखेगा, वैल्यू मान। हमको एस्टिमेट शुरू में ही एस्टिमेशन थोड़ी ना करने लग जाए। We will be preparing books of accounts by estimation. I am not questioning. I will be telling many things. बट शुरू में इनिशियल बिगिनिंग में ट्रांजेक्शन लिखने के लिए एस्टिमेशन नहीं होता है सर। उसका एग्जैक्ट वैल्यू आपको मालूम होना चाहिए। अगर
ओके।
वैल्यू नहीं मालूम है, आप बुक्स में उसको नहीं लिख सकते। इट हैज फिनेंशियल इफेक्ट, बट यू कांट रिकॉर्ड सर। दैट्स रूल ऑफ अकाउंटिंग। नाउ, फॉर रिकॉर्डिंग ट्रांजेक्शंस, for recording transactions in the books of accounts, journal, ledger, and ledger, trial balance, and then come presentation, presentation in financial statement मतलब पीएल अकाउंट, बैलेंस शीट, कैश फ्लो, नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स, स्टेटमेंट। दिस इज वी जनरली से समरी। आपका तो बिजनेस में हजारों ट्रांजैक्शन साल भर होगा, पूरे साल भर। पीएल बैलेंस शीट तो उसका समरी है। हम अगर सेल कर रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट लोग ट्यूशन ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, सो आई एम गेटिंग द ट्यूशन फीस रेगुलरली, बट इन पीएल अकाउंट आई एम राइटिंग सेल्स रेवेन्यू, दैट इज द टोटल ट्यूशन फीस ऑफ द इंटायर ईयर। इट्स अ समरी। The summary preparation will be done at the end of the year. But before the summary, you need to prepare these: journal, ledger, trial balance. Is trial balance compulsory? No. Is journal, ledger compulsory? No. The presentation in a particular way is compulsory in company law, in IFRS, and all that. But the presentation in a summary is not possible if you don't do journal, ledger, trial balance. मतलब this is procedural formalities. These are not legally required. लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट तो यही है, समरी। आपको ये प्रोसीजरल फॉर्मेलिटीज फॉलो करना फॉर प्रोसीजरल फॉर्मेलिटीज। फॉर रिकॉर्डिंग द ट्रांजेक्शन इन द बुक्स। अगर हम चार्टेड अकाउंटेंट को फाइनल लेवल पे पढ़ा रहे हैं तो भी उसको जर्नल नहीं आता है। अगर उसको मिडिल लेवल सीए, इंटर एसीसीए का मिडिल लेवल पढ़ा रहे हैं तो भी जर्नल नहीं आता है। और अगर उसको बच्चा लोग को, आप लोग को पढ़ा रहे हैं तो भी जर्नल नहीं आता है। बोलेगा सर सीए को भी नहीं आता है, सच्ची में नहीं आता, बाई गॉड, झूठ नहीं बोल रहे। क्यों नहीं आता है? जब वो सीए पढ़ लिया, चार्टेड अकाउंटेंसी पढ़ लिया, एसीसीए पढ़ लिया, फिर भी उसको जर्नल, व्हाई दे डोंट नो जर्नल? बिकॉज दे हैव नेवर स्टडीड इन अ लॉजिकल वे। दे मे हैव स्टडीड सो मच, लॉजिक नहीं उनका, पढ़ाई में कोई तथ्य नहीं। तो एक सिंपल चीज जो है, जो कि आज ही समझ में आ जाएगा, वो उनको सीए बनने के बाद भी नहीं समझ में आता है। हम लोग आज ही समझ लेंगे, अभी समझेंगे जर्नल। ठीक है। टू रिकॉर्ड अ ट्रांजेक्शन, आइदर आइदर गोल्डन रूल्स ऑफ जर्नल नॉट रेलिवेंट। हम पढ़ा ही नहीं रहे हैं उसको, फालतू चीज है एकदम। मॉडर्न अकाउंटिंग रेलिवेंट। बोलेगा मॉडर्न क्यों है? सिंपल है यार समझने में, इसीलिए। एज पर मॉडर्न अकाउंटिंग we say assets equals to liability plus कैपिटल। आप इसको दिल में, दिमाग में, जिंदगी में बसा लीजिए। मॉडर्न अकाउंटिंग सेज दैट assets equals to liability plus capital. You understand? Suppose I started a new business. हमने नया नया बिजनेस चालू किया। नया बिजनेस चालू करेंगे तो कुछ एसेट्स खरीदना पड़ेगा। मान लीजिए हम लोगों ने लैपटॉप कंप्यूटर खरीदा, 1 लाख। कहां से आया 1 लाख? अगर लैपटॉप कंप्यूटर खरीदेंगे पैसा लगेगा, वी नीड टू पे मनी। 1 लाख का एसेट्स बिजनेस में मैंने खरीदा। बिजनेस मतलब सोल प्रोपराइटर, पार्टनरशिप, कंपनी, लिमिटेड, अनलिमिटेड, वट एवर मैन, आप मत सोचिए। 1 लाख का एसेट्स खरीदा, पैसा कहां से आया? कहां से आ सकता है पैसा?
ओनर देगा ये पैसा,
क्यों ऑनर देगा?
क्योंकि वो
उधारी
खुद
में
ही
नहीं खरीद सकते? मान लीजिए आपका कंप्यूटर लैपटॉप का दुकान है, आपको बोला इंद्रदीप आप मेरे को दीजिए, हम 2 महीना बाद पैसा दे देंगे, नहीं देंगे आप।
हाँ, ओके।
कोई जरूरी नहीं है। मेरा बोलने का मतलब है, आप बैंक से लोन ले सकते हैं, आप किसी से क्रेडिट में गुड्स खरीद सकते हैं। अगर आप लोन लेंगे, क्रेडिट में गुड्स खरीदेंगे, वो है लाइबिलिटी। आप बोलेंगे मैंने अपना पैसा खुद का लगाया है, प्रकाश सराफ का खुद का पैसा मैंने इन्वेस्ट किया है, वो है कैपिटल। अगर आप बोलेंगे लोन लिया, अगर आप बोलेंगे क्रेडिट में खरीदा, ये सब लाइबिलिटी है, ये सब। ठीक है, ये सब लाइबिलिटी है। और अगर आप बोलेंगे आपने घर से पैसा दिया, सेल्फ, तो वो कैपिटल। फॉर सोल प्रोपराइटर, कंपनी, पार्टनरशिप, money given by the proprietor in the business to purchase business assets or anything, money given by the proprietor for the business, it is a liability. अगर मैंने अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया सोल प्रोपराइटरशिप, मैंने बिजनेस को 1 लाख दिया, एंड द बिजनेस विल यूज दैट 1 लाख टू बाई कंप्यूटर लैपटॉप, फॉर द बिजनेस 1 लाख इज a liability. The liability to the owner in accounting term is called capital, and the liability to the outsiders other than the owners is called liability. आप इन दोनों को मिलाकर टोटल लाइबिलिटी बोल सकते हैं. बट नॉर्मल लाइबिलिटी वर्ड इज यूज्ड फॉर द थर्ड पार्टी आउटसाइड द बिजनेस ओनर. अगर पैसा आपको बिजनेस ओनर को देना है, बिजनेस को, देन इट इज सेड एज कैपिटल. When you acquire any assets other than these two, there is no other option with you.
Sir, can you repeat that again? I did not get it.
I've said that ki when you buy any assets, then there are two sources only. One is you will take a loan and then buy. One is you will take on credit. So if you raise a liability, with that you can acquire an assets. Or as Indranil was saying, Indradeep was saying, sorry, that sir, owner has given the money. Owner has given the money to the business and then business has used that money to purchase the assets. Owner and business are separate in accounts, whether it's sole proprietorship, whether it's partnership or anything. Owner and business are separate in accounts. So when owner has given money to the business, for the business it is a liability. But for the business, we always say it is capital. Liability to the owner, amount payable by the business to the owner is called capital. Amount payable by the business to any third party is called a liability. Both can be said as total liability. But payable to the owner of the business is called capital. बोलेगा payable कहां से है? If I am giving you 1 lakh, you will pay me later. So for you 1 lakh is a liability. I have given to my business 1 lakh to purchase computer. For the business, whatever money received by business from Prakash, Prakash is the owner of business. For the business, it is a liability, but it is termed as capital. Business liability to the owner of the business is called capital. And business liability to the outsiders, third party, is called liability. We can use the term total liability, but we should never use the term liability for amount payable by the business to the owner of the business. In Reliance, I am the shareholder, owner. It is written in the Reliance company's balance sheet, share capital. Because everybody has a share in the company. So we don't use the word capital, share capital. In a proprietorship business, one person is the owner, we say capital. The proprietor of the business will get this money from the business later. Presently for the business, it is used in the business as a fund, as a capital. In any business, whether it's sole proprietorship, partnership, company, any business, there are two types of liabilities. One is liability to the owner called capital, and one is liability to the third party called liability. And with these two resources, we are acquiring assets in the business. There is no other way. या तो जो ओनर है वो पैसे देगा, या जो बाहर वाले हैं वो देंगे, तभी तो एसेट्स आएगा ना. और तो कोई तरीका, इज देयर एनी अदर वे दैट अदर देन दीज टू थिंग्स वी कैन गेट द मनी टू परचेज एसेट्स? कोई और तरीका है बिजनेस में टू एक्वायर एसेट्स इन द बिजनेस अदर देन दीज टू ऑप्शंस? इंद्रदीप.
अगर कोई चैरिटी में देता है देन दैट्स अ डिफरेंट केस, बट दैट इज नॉट
Yeah,
हैपन
it's okay, it's
ऑब्वियसली.
okay. I want to hear this. If in the charity you are getting 1 lakh assets, you need to pay to the charity that money again. Do you need to pay?
नो.
No. So it is not a liability. But then, if I am doing my business, this is my business, not proprietorship company, but see, think about proprietorship. If I am doing this business and in the business I am generating profit by selling, by providing training classes, I am getting tuition fees minus the expenditure, there is a profit. Who is the owner of that profit? In the business, by doing business, we are generating income. Sales minus expenditures. So who is the owner of those income? Can we say the owner of the business?
Yes.
So income of the business is also a capital for the business. Because ultimately, if the business will close, that income will be given to the owner only, not given to liability. So if you are getting any charity, that is also a part of capital, because that charity money is not payable to any loan provider, any creditor. The charity money belongs to the owner only. So if it is a charity you received to purchase the computer, the assets will increase by 1 lakh and the charity will become capital only. If the amount in the business payable to any third party from whatever way, it is a liability. If the amount in the business payable to the owner of the business, that is called capital. So if it is assets purchased by charity amount, assets will increase and the capital will increase. Or if the capital is contributed by the owner, assets will increase and the capital will increase. So if you think there is a charity, somebody has given, suppose government has given donations in your business to purchase assets. So assets is going up. The donation from the government is a capital only. You are doing good business, for that reason somebody is giving you donation. So that donation is your capital only, man. It's not that everything in the business you need to contribute from your pocket. Anybody is giving you any profit you are generating is also a part of capital, because it is not payable to any third party, sir. It is payable to the owner only. So it is capital only. In the business, when you do record transactions, thousand millions of transactions are there, but every transaction will have these three things. I will not say in every transaction all three things. Maybe in one transaction, two things and all that. But every transaction are giving a rise to assets, liability or capital. And this is written as accounting equation. This is said as accounting equation. Accounting equation. Equation means what? Left hand side, right hand side. And the equation has to be equal always. So if the left hand side is going up, because there is a purchase of assets, if the left hand side is going up, if the left hand side is going up, then the right hand side will also go up. Right? If the left hand side will go down, then the right hand side will also go down after every transaction. After every transaction. Recognizing a transaction means making this equation equal. Making this equation equal means if the left hand side goes up, right hand side also goes up. Left hand side goes down, right hand side also goes down. If this will not happen on every transaction, the accounting recognition is wrong. You are not recognizing the transaction properly. If you say you are recognizing the transaction properly, that means this equation, after every accounting, every recognition will always be equal. So in my first transaction, I said we purchased a computer for 1 lakh. Assets up by 1 lakh. So in the right hand side also 1 lakh up. Maybe it's a loan or a creditor. Maybe it's a capital, charity, whatever. Maybe it's half. You have taken a loan of 50,000 and 50,000 given by the proprietor. But ultimately the right hand side is also going up by 1 lakh. After every transaction recording, the equation will be equal. For every transaction recording, the equation will be equal. आपका अगर इक्वेशन गलत हो गया, ट्रांजेक्शन रिकॉर्डेड रॉन्गली, If after any transaction accounting recording, this equation is not satisfied, you have done wrong accounting. If you want to do correct accounting for any transaction, you want to recognize value is there. When you recognize it, the equation has to be equal. It can never be unequal. This equality of the accounting transaction is called recognizing the transactions in the books of accounts, but in technical language written in the books as debit credit. In technical language written in books as debit credit. What is this debit credit? Increase in asset, debit. Similarly, decrease in asset will be credit. Increase in liability and capital, credit. Similarly, decrease in liability and capital will be debit. This is accounting rule. The accounting is based on two aspects, debit, credit. For every transaction, there will be something debit, something credit. But the debit credit amounts will be different. If the debit amount is 1 lakh, credit amount is 1 lakh. Debit 50,000, credit 50,000. The accounting technically says that we need to record debit credit. But that debit credit understanding meaning is recording this. Whenever there is any transaction recorded in the books, it is going to affect the accounting equation. And by every transaction being recorded, the accounting equation should be satisfied, should be equal. But in technical term, we say it is debit credit. So when I purchased an asset for 1 lakh, increase in asset, debit. So computer, debit. When I purchased an asset for 1 lakh, that means increase in asset by computer. And I said in accounting, increase in asset, debit. Computer, debit, 1 lakh. ठीक है? Please understand that. First of all, you will take the money and then you will pay for the computer. But if you are buying the computer on credit, you will pay later. Then you don't need to pay for it. You will pay later. Suppose I am saying it is purchased on credit. We are not paying for the computer now. We will pay for the computer later. अभी पे नहीं करना है, बाद में करेंगे. It is increase in liability. You will pay to the creditor 1 month, 2 months later. So presently increase in liability. What I said, increase in liability will be credit. So credit, liability for computer. You will say, sir, I need to write this much. You can write whatever name, doesn't matter. It's a liability that we are saying. This is debited because increase in asset. And this is credited because increase in liability. Suppose I will say for buying computer, proprietor has given money. Suppose for buying computer, proprietor has given money. Proprietor has given money to purchase computer. Proprietor has given money to the business. तो पहले money received from proprietor as capital. Because whatever money given by the proprietor for business, it is called capital. That is also a separate transaction. Recognizing 1 lakh proprietor has given, business is recording, money received, cash, debit. Why debit? Increase in asset. In the business, cash is coming. In the business, asset is going up. Cash debit. 1 lakh. Who has given this money? Proprietor. For the proprietor, what word we are using? Capital. For anything which is given by the owner of the business, it is called capital. The business need to return this money later whenever the business will close. Because proprietor money is not to be returned now, but any time, maybe 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, 50 year, any time. Whenever we will return this money to the proprietor. Presently that there is increase in capital, increase in liability and capital, credit. So credit, capital, 1 lakh. And with this 1 lakh, we are purchasing computer. First of all, we arranged 1 lakh and then we are purchasing computer. Now we are purchasing computer. Again, when we are purchasing computer, there is increase in asset. So debit, computer, 1 lakh. Money from the business gone. In the cash, you have 1 lakh that you have given to the computer wala for purchasing computer. So there is increase in one asset, computer, but there is decrease in another asset, cash. Cash gone, decrease in asset. Credit, cash, 1 lakh. By this transaction, by accounting for this transaction, the asset is 1 lakh. 1 lakh is your asset, which is cash, and capital is 1 lakh, which is your total liability part. By this transaction, 1 lakh computer. In place of cash, the asset is converted into computer. One asset gone down, another asset goes up. But there is no change in the liability. Capital is still 1 lakh. It is not that every time, for every transaction, both right hand and left hand side will be affected. Sometime only the left hand side. By this transaction, only the asset is getting changed, one asset to another asset. The liability and capital is not changing. But ultimately, after every transaction, this will be equal. If one asset going up, another asset going down, only left hand side changing. If the asset going up, liability, capital, both are going up, both sides are changing. But after every transaction recording, this will be equal. Maybe in a company where Indradeep is working, there are 5 million transactions in a year. After every transaction, this will be equal. Every transaction. The transaction is not going to affect both sides. Sometime only one side. But the net effect on that side is 0. So the right hand side and left hand side are equal. Or maybe it is affecting both sides. So if left hand side is going up, right hand side will also be going up. In accounting, we say that it is debit credit. Increase in asset, debit. Increase in liability and capital, credit. Whether it's a transaction of 5 lines, whether it's a transaction of this, that, every transaction you need to identify what? Which assets or which liability or capital are increasing, decreasing. Every transaction have asset, liability, capital. So in every transaction, which asset, which liability, which capital is going up or going down. Accordingly, you record. Assets going up, debit. Assets going down, credit. Liability, computer, liability, liability or capital going up, credit. Liability capital going down, debit. Always the debit credit rules are fixed. Just that you need to identify in the transaction which asset, which liability, which capital is going up, which is going down. Asset going up, debit. Liability and capital going up, credit. Simple. Simple story. Asset going up, debit. Asset going down, credit. Liability capital going up, credit. Liability capital going down, debit. Because ultimately the effect of that transaction is making the equation equal. If the equation is not equal, that means you have done something wrong. And because of that, your summary will be wrong. If the transactions are properly recorded, recognized, then only the summary will be correct. If the transactions are not properly recorded or recognized, then the summary can never be correct. We can think about summary preparation only when we have understood every transaction accounting. Every transaction nobody can discuss because it is not an exhaustive list. It's an open-ended list. I am talking a transaction which is slightly tricky, but you both apply your brain. Wrong, right, whatever. No problem. Try to apply. If you apply your brain, you will understand. If you just hear, you don't understand. Another example. Goods taken by the proprietor from business valued 10,000. I cannot take Saraf Academy example because I don't have any goods in my company. But wherever you all are working or any, but you think about Reliance or anything, company ka goods, which is the assets of the company, taken by the proprietor. It is not allowed in Reliance because it is not allowed in public companies and all that. In private companies also the rules are there for taking back. But suppose ऐसा है 10,000 का गुड्स प्रोपराइटर ने वापस ले लिया, आपको मेरे को बताना है अफेक्ट ऑन एसेट्स एंड जर्नल एंट्री. आपको ये दोनों बात बोलना है. अफेक्ट ऑन एसेट्स नहीं, अफेक्ट ऑन इक्वेशन. Assets equals to liability plus capital. Effect on that left hand side, right hand side, what? And then the journal entry. Think and tell. Think and say. Indradeep, you are there from the beginning. Kavya joined in between. So at least you should be saying, sir.
Should just give me some time. I'm testing.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
correct it.
Yes, yes.
Go ahead.
एसेट एसेट 10,000 से कम गया तो एसेट रिड्यूस होगा और कैपिटल भी आपका 10,000 से कम है, क्योंकि कैपिटल हम लोग के लिए लायबिलिटी होता है जो हम लोग को बिजनेस को देना, ओनर को देना पड़ता है. तो अगर वो ओनर पैसा मतलब वो कंप्यूटर ले रहा है, तो इन दैट केस कैपिटल भी मतलब लाइबिलिटी हम लोग का कंपैरेटिवली कम हुआ। एंड जर्नल एंट्री आई डोंट नो इफ इट इज ओके, मतलब ठीक है कि नहीं, बट आई थिंक इट्स ड्राइंग अकाउंट डेबिट 10,000 टू कंप्यूटर, क्योंकि कंप्यूटर घट गया।
हम तो कंप्यूटर एसेट्स गुड्स बोला है हम तो। हम तो कंप्यूटर नहीं बोले।
ओह
ड्राइंग
सॉरी सॉरी।
10,000 और क्रेडिट गुड्स बोल देते हैं, इन्वेंट्री
हाँ, इन्वेंट्री, यस।
10,000। यस काव्या, यू से नाउ।
The same, sir. My journal entry, I thought drawings account data to purchases account, whatever purchased there.
ठीक है, यू वांट टू से इन प्लेस ऑफ इन्वेंट्री परचेजेस, है ना? नो प्रॉब्लम। नाउ whenever the proprietor give money to the business, assets to the business, then it is called a capital. When the proprietor, owner of the business, giving money, assets, anything to the business, it is called capital. So when the proprietor anything take from the business, it is called reduction in capital. You can say reduction in capital as drawings. बट अगर आप कैपिटल डेबिट भी बोलेंगे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। ये नहीं है कि ड्राइंग्स लिखना जरूरी है। यू कैन यूज द वर्ड कैपिटल डेबिट। एज फार एज जर्नल इज कंसर्न्ड, व्हाट वी सेड, increase in liability and capital credited. Here, whether the capital is increasing or decreasing, it is decreasing. Increase in liability and capital will be credited. So when it is decrease in liability and capital will be debited. Either you debit capital or you debit drawings, doesn't matter, sir. Ultimately, drawings will be deducted from capital only. As far as the credit is concerned, whatever inventory we have, that inventory reduced by 10,000 taken by the proprietor. So in the business, the assets is going down. We have written increase in assets debit. So decrease in assets credit. There is no confusion. We can write purchases also. Why? When we purchase goods, suppose in business, we purchase goods for 5 lakh. So assets increasing because you are purchasing goods. So assets increasing. You will debit assets or you will debit inventory. Can you debit purchases? Debit. When you are purchasing goods, in place of debiting inventory, can you debit purchases? अगर हम लोग गुड्स खरीदते हैं तो हम लोग उसको परचेज लिखें कि इन्वेंट्री लिखें? क्या लिखें?
इन्वेंट्री लिखेंगे।
देखिए, अगर परचेज करते हैं तो नॉर्मली तो हम लोग परचेज ही लिखते हैं, इन्वेंट्री तो नहीं लिखते हैं सर।
ओके।
The question is that you will say, sir, why this is a purchase? Is this not an asset? Sir, it is an asset only. It is an asset only because once you purchased, it is kept as inventory and now you will sell it. So what happens that at the end of the year, you are debiting purchases say 10,000 times. Purchase goods in the business 10,000 times. And then at the end of the year, there is some inventory left. Out of 10,000 times, 2-3 times of goods is still there. So you will pass the entry inventory account, debit, credit, purchases. Whatever inventory left, that you reduce from purchases. So the balance purchase is what? Is gone. That goods we have sold out. If you are debiting purchases, then at the end of the year, whatever portion is not yet sold, you will write as inventory. But if you are debiting inventory, then at the end of the year, whatever portion you have sold out, that you will transfer to cost. What I mean to say that, आप समझिए एक बात, दोनों सही है, गलत कुछ भी नहीं है। At the time of purchases, if you debit purchase, why this purchase is debited? You are considering it is an expense. It is not an asset. You will say why expense will be debited. Income will be credited because it is increasing capital. Expense will be debited because it is decreasing capital. Business में जो भी profit होगा belongs to owner. So if the profit is there, income is there, capital goes up. If the loss is there, expenses are there, capital goes down. You consider purchase of goods as expense. So you are debiting capital. Capital के बदले आप नाम लिख रहे हैं purchases. Credit cash or creditor. Why credit cash or creditor? If you paid cash, assets gone down. If the payment is not done, it will be paid later. Increase in liability. Cash or creditor. ठीक है? Now at the end of the year, it is not that whatever purchases you have done, all are sold out. Some of them are still there. They are not yet sold to customers. How can you record something as an expense which is not yet sold to customers? So at the end of the year, what you will do? You will record closing stock debit, closing stock debit, credit purchases. What is this entry? This is called adjustment entry. This we use the term adjustment entry. Adjustment entry. Every business need to do at the end of the year adjustment entry. Entire purchase is not expense. Some of the purchases are not yet sold out. So that you are recording as an asset. You are cancelling the purchases and you are recording them as an asset. आप उसको मान लीजिए, suppose you purchase inventory of 100 lakh and at the end of the year you have 5 lakh inventory. So 100 lakh you recorded expense, but the 5 lakh is not yet sold out. That is still there. So that 5 lakh becomes assets and the purchase is cancelled. Purchase was capital. Capital was because of expense, capital reduced. But the expense is not materialized. Expense not happened. So I have cancelled the purchases. Yes, Kavya, you want to say, Indradeep, are you saying anything?
No, sir. Now I understood. Yeah.
आप मेरे को हर समय बोलने दिया करिए, उसके बाद आप बोलिए कुछ नहीं बचेगा सर। और जो भी हम बोल रहे हैं कोई किताब में नहीं लिखा हुआ है, चैट जीपीटी भी नहीं लिखेगा सर, ठीक है? कहीं लिखा हुआ नहीं मिलेगा, बिकॉज अगर लिखा हुआ मिलता तो बात ही क्या था। हम ये नहीं बोल रहे हम बहुत बड़ा है, बट पढ़ पढ़ के समझ समझ के ऐसा दिमाग को बैठाया है तो वो किताबों में नहीं मिलेगा। सपोज समबडी विल से दैट यही चीज को लाइक काव्या इज सेइंग परचेजेस, सो एट द टाइम ऑफ परचेज you are saying inventory. You are not saying purchases. Now at the time of purchase, if you are saying inventory, it is assets. Yeah, assets. But at the end of the year adjustment entry, what? You have purchased inventory of 100 lakh and 5 lakh inventory is still there. 95 lakh sold out. So here you will record what? Purchases debit 95 lakh. बोलेगा why you are debiting purchases, sir? Why you are debiting? Because whatever the inventory we have sold in the business, that is an expense. Expense means capital goes down. Income means capital goes up. Decrease in capital and liability debited. Credit inventory. Credit inventory 95 lakh. Credit inventory 95. When you are purchasing, you are not debiting purchases, you are debiting inventory. And at the end of the year, whatever goods you have sold out, that is no more an inventory. वो तो सेल हो गया, जो बचा है बस वो इन्वेंट्री है। इसमें उसको छोड़ दीजिए, बैलेंस को आप खर्चा दिखा दीजिए. Either you record the transaction like this. When you purchase, record expense. At the end of the year, whatever is not sold out becomes assets. Or when you purchase, you record an asset. And at the end of the year, whatever sold out, you record as an expense. बात बराबर है. इधर भी इन्वेंट्री 100 लाख है और 95 क्रेडिट हुआ, बैलेंस 5 लाख. इधर परचेजेस 100 लाख है और यहां परचेजेस 95 क्रेडिट हुआ. इन अल्टीमेटली इन्वेंट्री में कितना आया? क्लोजिंग स्टॉक मींस इन्वेंट्री. इट इज 5. From the purchases, you are deducting 5 and you are making this as an inventory. If Kavya is recording the transactions like this is what Kavya is saying. Kavya. And this is recording done by Indradeep. दोनों सही है. कौन बोला एक जन सही है? So when Kavya is recording like this, so Kavya is saying that goods taken by the proprietor is drawings or capital debit credit purchases. But when Indradeep is saying this कि भैया हम तो इन्वेंट्री डेबिट किया था, अभी जब इन्वेंट्री का प्रोपराइटर ले गया तो हम इन्वेंट्री को क्रेडिट करेंगे, तो इंद्रदीप ये बोल रहा है. रॉन्ग कौन है? कोई नहीं. अपना देयर इज ए डिफरेंट थॉट प्रोसेस. यू कंसिडर परचेज एज एन एक्सपेंस और यू कंसिडर परचेज एज एन एसेट. एक्सपेंस तो वही बनेगा जो सेल होगा, जो सेल नहीं होगा वो एक्सपेंस नहीं बनेगा. So if you want to record in the beginning only as an expense, later adjustment, Kavya. Or if you want to record beginning as an asset, later as an adjustment, Indradeep. दोनों सही है. आपकी मर्जी है आपको करना कैसे है सर. कोई आपको क्वेश्चन नहीं कर सकता आप गलत कर रहे हैं. इसीलिए ये क्रेडिट दोनों सही. डेबिट ड्रॉइंग्स के बदले यू कैन से कैपिटल. एज आई सेड, there is no exhaustive list of transactions in any business. Transactions are endless. Endless. For every transaction, one simple process, one understanding, accounting equation. Assets equals to liability plus capital after recording of every transaction. Second, technical understanding, debit credit. Assets increase debit, liability capital increase credit. When you record that debit credit, automatically the equation will be equal. A recording of transaction will be possible if you know the value. Value will be recognized in such a way that equation will be equal and the debit credit will be equal. If you record the transaction as a debit credit, it is called journal entry. If you don't record the transaction as debit credit, if you just say the transaction accounting like equation, it is called equation accounting. मार्केट में अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर टैली बोलकर आता है. टैली हम लोग जो यूज करते हैं, उसमें भी नीड टू रिकॉर्ड जर्नल एंट्री. बट दुनिया में बहुत सारा कंपनी है, इंडिया में भी, जो लोग जर्नल नहीं करते हैं, जिनका अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर में अकाउंटिंग इक्वेशन से अकाउंटिंग होता है. दे आर नॉट डूइंग एनी डेबिट क्रेडिट. Every transaction is recorded by making the equation equal. दोनों सही है. आपको कौन बोला कि आपको डेबिट क्रेडिट जर्नल एंट्री करना ही पड़ेगा? ऐसा कुछ थोड़ी ना है यार. It's upon you how you want to record. But every transaction which has a value, you don't need to estimate. In the beginning, the value is known, cost. It needs to be recognized. A recording of the transaction will be either making the equation equal or recording the journal entry on the concept increase in asset debit, increase in liability and capital credit. Liability is the outside liability and capital is the liability to the owner. Liability to the parent money, owner of the business, that is called capital. Always assets equals to liability plus capital. When you record the transactions as a debit credit, there is no exhaustive list. Millions of transactions are there. After recording the transactions, any accounting package, Tally or any package, any accounting software will make the ledger of those transactions. Ledger. Ledger means a T-shape presentation. This is ledger. ठीक है? For all debit credit items, there will be a separate ledger. Suppose we are talking ledger for purchases. The left hand side is called debit and the right hand side is called credit. What is a ledger? Ledger is the summary of all the transactions in the journal related to a particular item. Ledger is the summary of all the transactions recorded relating to a particular item. Summary of that. Like we are saying here, काव्या वाला लेजर कर रहे हैं, purchases debit. Purchases debit. This is debit. So in the purchase debit side, we will be writing this another name, that is cash or creditor. But it will be written in the purchases debit side. Debit side, cash or creditor. Figures 100 lakh. Then in the second entry, it is closing stock debit credit purchases. The purchase is credited. So in the credit side of purchases, other item, closing stock or inventory. Closing stock or inventory, which is 5. For all the journal entries which is done in a period in a year, we need to prepare ledgers for all those journals. Ledger means in the journal there are so many items, assets, liability, capital. For each individual item there will be a separate summary. And that summary will be, if in the journal that account is debited, you will write in the debit side. If in the journal that account is credited, you will write in the credit side. You will go on writing like this. मैंने तो अभी 2 ही लिखा है, बट बिजनेस में तो होते रहेगा ना, आपको वो सारा लिखते जाना है. Notes to accounts. I said in the beginning only today and last class, notes to accounts, very less in the entire batch we will discuss. And presently I am not discussing any notes to accounts. Today I am not discussing any notes to accounts. Even in your entire syllabus of ACCA knowledge level, CIMA operational level, notes to accounts is very less. That you will understand at higher levels. What you are saying, Indradeep?
नहीं सर, ये मैं बहुत पहले बोला था, आप अभी देखें.
अच्छा ठीक है, मेरे को एक्चुअली यहां पर ऐसे करने से रेड फ्लैग दिखा, इसीलिए हम देखा अभी, सॉरी. So what we are saying as कि purchases we will debit because purchases account is debited in the journal. So in the debit side it is written. In the second entry purchase is credited. So in the credit side it is written. ऐसे करके लिखते जाएंगे. Blah 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 blah. I have not written any further transactions, लिखते जाएंगे. But the debit side total and credit side total will not be same. It will always be different. I am not saying never it will be same, but generally it will be different. Whichever side is higher, you will write that as a total in both the sides. Whichever side is higher, you will write that as a total in both the sides. Here in my case, it is 100 higher. The 100 is the debit side total, higher one. In the credit side also 100. But in the credit side, it is coming 5 only. In the credit side, it is coming 5 only. 100 minus 5 difference. Balancing figure. Balancing figure 95. In every ledger, after recording all the transactions, you will find some difference in debit or credit side. If it is difference in the credit side, that means debit side is more. It is called debit balance. It is not called credit balance. Written in the credit side. But which side is more? That balance. Debit side is more, it is a debit balance. If credit side is more, it is a credit balance. Sorry. Since debit side is more than credit side, since debit side is more than credit side in purchase ledger, it is called debit balance. Many students think that it is written in the credit side, it is credit balance. No, sir. It is written in the credit side because debit side is more. To balance, I have written this. Whichever side is more, that balance is there. You write in the reverse side. It is a debit balance. What is this? 100 lakh goods we purchased during the year 1000 times. Out of that, 5 lakh is still there. Balance 95 lakh we have sold out. This 95 lakh is actually cost of goods sold. In the above example, 95 is cost of goods sold. In the above example, 95 is cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold means what? The goods which you have sold out, the cost of that, you don't know the sale price. That we will know from other transaction. But this is the cost of the goods we sold. We discussed summary. What? PL, balance sheet, statement of changes in equity. Notes to accounts and cash flow I have not discussed. PL account means what? Summary of income and expenses. So, cost of goods sold will be coming in PL because it is an expense. Balance sheet, summary of assets and liabilities. So, computer and capital will be in balance sheet. बोलेगा statement of changes in equity. I'm not going into this. We discussed slightly in the last class, but I'm not discussing this again because अभी नहीं बता सकते. What I mean to say that once you have the ledger ready, you may have past journal entries in a year 5,000. But the ledgers will not be 5,000, maybe 500, 100, because same transaction, same purchase is written so many times. Ledger is a summary of all the purchases. In the capital, you have written 3-4 times, introduction, drawings, this, that. So the ledger is giving you the final balance. The ledger is giving you the final balance, balancing figure. That ledger balance is a summary of all the transactions during the year. That summary value you will record in PL account and balance sheet. If the ledger is for expenses, income, losses and all that, then those summary balances will be coming in PL. Cost of goods sold will be coming in PL. But if the summary of those ledgers, that is the ledgers are assets, liability, computer, capital, equity, then in that case they will be coming in the balance sheet. When the transactions will arise, first of all, you need to see that whether the transaction can be recognized, whether the transaction has a value, whether the transaction is possible to be measured. When it is recognizable and measurable, then we record. Recording two ways, either the equation method or the journal entry. After the recording, initial recording, we make ledgers. With all the recordings, we will make a summary of all. The ledger summary, the ledger balancing figure, which is called casting, ledger casting. Once you record the entire transactions in the ledger, while recording in the ledger, debit, debit, credit, credit, purchase debit in the debit side, purchase credit in the credit side, you will get balancing figure, summary balancing figure. That summary balancing figure will be coming in PL account balance sheet. The summary balance sheet, summary PL account, income expenses, ledger balance, balancing figure, casting figure will be coming in PL account to know net profit. And the assets liability figure will be coming in the balance sheet as an asset liability. So maybe 500 ledgers. All ledger figures will be coming either here or here. Assets liability here, income expenses here. You will say, then why there is a trial balance, sir? You have to written this only. Please understand that when we are recording journal entry for every debit, there is a credit. When we are recording them in the ledger, then in the ledger, suppose I am recording here in purchases debit, then in the creditors ledger, I will be recording in the credit 100. In the purchases, I am recording credit 500. So in the closing stock, I will be recording in the debit 5. For every debit, I am recording in somewhere credit. So when the ledger balances will come for 100 ledgers, this is debit balance, debit side more. In some ledgers, you will have debit balance. In some ledgers, you will have credit balance. The total of the debit balances and the total of the credit balances has to be same. The total of the ledger's debit balances and the total of the credit balances will be same. Why? Because for every debit, you have written a credit. Accounts is always equal, balancing. So if there are 20 debit balances, purchase, this, and there are 20, 30 credit balances, all will be equal. Normally what happens in the practical life, before preparing PL account, we first of all, after preparing journal ledger, prepare the trial balance. That is, all debits and all credits should be equal. The ledger balance, all debit total, the ledger balance, all credit total should be equal. If it is equal, that means arithmetically we have not done any mistake. We can through to prepare PL balance sheet. But if it is not equal, there is some arithmetical mistake. We need to rectify that. Then we will prepare PL account balance sheet. Arithmetical mistake means you have written 1 lakh and 10 lakh. By mistake, specs are not weird properly and you have written 1 laddu more, 1 laddu less, or may not be in the journal entry. While posting in the ledger, you are writing here 1 lakh, but in the creditor you are writing 10,000, 1 laddu less. It may happen. Because of that, these debit credit will not tally. So when it is wrong, there is no point preparing PL account balance sheet before all the things are made correctly. So if we prepare a trial balance before preparing this, we able to identify if there is any mistake, we will rectify that and then we will prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet. As I said, these are not required legally. These you are doing for your own purpose so that you can prepare this. The legal requirement in all over the world is preparation of summary. PL account, balance sheet, cash flow, notes to accounts, statement of changes in equity, that is a compulsory thing. ये आपका मर्जी है आपको कैसे बनाना है. There are so many software packages, accounting packages in the world. यूज करते हैं उसमें ये अलग अलग तरीके से बनाते हैं. कोई भी कैसे भी बनाए, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम. अल्टीमेटली ये सही बनना चाहिए. The summary of the entire transactions during the year, assets, liability, income, expense should be properly recognized, should be properly presented, should be correct, should be relevant, should be reliable. But if your system is not reliable, how the outcome will be reliable? अगर सिस्टम ही ठीक नहीं है तो आउटकम तो ठीक कभी हो ही नहीं सकता, होएगा ही नहीं. Never the outcome will be correct if the system is wrong. So any accounting package, whether it's tally or anything, need to be very well prepared. Maybe I am saying journal, ledger and trial balance not come, but उसके बगैर summary बनेगा नहीं. How you will come to know the total sales figure, total purchase figure, total है कैसे पता? ऐसे ही हवा में थोड़ी ना कैलकुलेटर में लेके चालू हो जाएंगे. You need to have a proper accounting records so that you can prepare a correct summary which is relevant for the users of the financial statement. But this is a process. Transaction arises, recognizable, measurable, record it, by accounting equation, by journal. With the journal, prepare ledgers, summary of the ledger, casting, prepare trial balance. With the trial balance, if all are correct, debit, credit correct, with the trial balance, prepare the summary of PL account and balance sheet. In the PL account, record expenses and income. In the balance sheet, record assets and liability so that you can present anywhere in the world what is your strength, what are your assets, what are your liability, what is your income, expenses and all that. What I discussed in the last class. If I am going to a doctor, blood pressure, height, weight, so that they come to know about my body. Similarly, if you want to come to know about an organization, you need to see their PL account balance sheet. That is the whole thing about the, but वो PL account balance sheet बनेगा कैसे भाई? We need to understand how to prepare that. उसको बनाएंगे कैसे? बनाने का ये तरीका है, ये स्टोरी है, ये प्रोसेस है, ये स्टेप है. एनी अकाउंटिंग पैकेज यही करता है. When I did my CA inter, I'm talking about around 95, 96, 30 years back. I don't remember exactly when I gave it, 95, 96 only. I was doing articles and I was providing training classes also. Training classes to those who are in CA Foundation, BCom, 11, 12th, like that. Ghar ghar, Master Ji. Used to go to the student houses, 3, 4 students come, study together and that way. Okay? At that time, one of the student whose house I was visiting as a teacher, as a Master Ji, his father said, can you prepare our accounts? We will give you money. क्योंकि आप बच्चों को अकाउंट्स पढ़ा ही रहे हैं, आप हम लोग का अकाउंट्स बना दीजिए. हम बोला ठीक है, देखते हैं, बनाया तो नहीं है बट मेरे ख्याल से बना पाएंगे. सो अलॉन्ग विद द ट्रेनिंग क्लासेस आई वेंट इन हिज फादर ऑफिस and I prepared the ledger, journal, trial balance, all everything. On a software, they had purchased one software at that time, not Tally something. In that software, I prepared their books of accounts or the register, everything. They gave me at that time 5,000 rupees for preparing that accounts. I worked for 2 months, not one day. I worked for 2 months and then I got 5,000 rupees to prepare. Still today, there are so many sole proprietor who don't know preparing accounts. उनको आता नहीं. But still, they need to file income tax return. They need to give detail to government. उनको नहीं आता है. आप उनका काम कर सकते हैं. अभी तो 3 दिन 4 दिन एक अकाउंट्स बनाने का 5,000 रुपया मिलेगा. वो तो 2 साल 30 साल पहले का बात है. अभी आपको सॉफ्टवेयर वो नहीं देगा. आप अपना टैली खरीद लीजिए, 10-12 हजार में आता है. You can purchase a tally package. It is available at 12-13,000. कोई सीए वगैरह से कनेक्शन होगा वो और कमती में दिला देगा. आप किसी का भी अकाउंट्स लीजिए, जो भी एक नॉर्मल पर्सन है, हजारों करोड़ों है सर, बोलिए उसका अकाउंट्स पूरा बना कर देंगे. जर्नल, लेजर, ट्रायल बैलेंस, पीएल अकाउंट सब, सो दैट दे कैन फाइल द इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न उसमें आपको हर जगह 2000, 4000, 5000 डिपेंडिंग अपॉन वॉल्यूम 20 क्लाइंट रेडी किए इंद्रजीत. इफ यू रेडी 20 clients, you will be getting around monthly 1 lakh that you are not earning in salary, that you are giving to your employer. You are earning 30,000 and your employer is earning out of that 3 lakh. So you will be able to start your business. Why we are studying this? Not to pass CIMA or ACCA. वो तो ठीक है, वो तो करना ही है. द पर्पज इज टू स्टार्ट अर्निंग. बोलेगा सर अभी चालू कर ले, अभी थोड़ा पढ़ लीजिए, थोड़ा और, थोड़ा एटलीस्ट 1-2 महीना पढ़ लीजिए, बिकॉज आई हैव नॉट डिस्कस्ड एवरी ट्रांजेक्शन अकाउंटिंग. आप प्रॉब्लम में आएंगे. पहले आप 1-2 महीना अच्छा से इसको पढ़ लीजिए एंड देन यू स्टार्ट डूइंग कंसल्टेंसी, प्रिपेयरिंग द अकाउंट्स एज अ रिटेनरशिप, कि आप उसका साल भर का अकाउंट्स बना कर देंगे. एवरी मंथली यू विल रिकॉर्ड द ट्रांजेक्शंस एंड ऑल दैट. यू विल बी टेलिंग व्हाट इज योर पोजीशन एंड ऑल दैट. कोई भी जन 5-7 हजार रुपए दे देगा सर, कोई भी जन. एंड सिंस यू आर ए स्टूडेंट लेवल नीडी, दूसरा लोग हेल्प भी करना चाहेगा. हाँ, गलत नहीं मानेगा सर, आप गलत नहीं कर सकते. यू नीड टू डू इट करेक्ट ओनली. एंड इंद्रजीत, यू विल बिकम ओनर ऑफ योर लाइफ. यू डोंट नीड टू वर्क एनीवेयर सर. बोलेगा सर हाउ आई विल गेट दैट सर. शुरू में सब कुछ तकलीफ होता है. इफ आई स्टार्ट ट्रेनिंग क्लासेस टुडे, हु विल कम सर? नोबडी विल कम. आप जहां पर भी जाते हैं, मिलते हैं, बैठते हैं, दोस्त है, बंधु है, कोई भी है सर, उसको बोलिए हम अपने अकाउंट्स का काम चालू किए. आप अकाउंट्स अगर बनवाएंगे मेरे से, हम शुरू में कम पैसा ही लेंगे, बना के देते हैं. जब आप उसका एक बार बना देंगे, उसको अच्छा लगेगा, अब वो आपसे छोड़ के जाएगा नहीं सर. फिर वो अपना दोस्त को बोलेगा, बंधु को बोलेगा, इधर बोलेगा, उधर बोलेगा, हो गया सर, जिंदगी चल गया एकदम. यू बिकम द ओनर ऑफ योर ओन. क्या बात है सर, सोचिए. वी आर स्टडिंग फॉर दैट पर्पस, नॉट स्टडिंग दैट कि आप क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करेंगे, आंसर करेंगे, इस ACCA में नंबर लाएं. उससे कोई मतलब नहीं है सर. कोई को पैसा कमाना है तो बहुत तरीका है, बहुत तरीका है. ऐसा नहीं कि सैलरी जॉब ही करना है. मर्जी आपका है, आपको करना है कि नहीं. एज आई सेड इन द लास्ट क्लास, when the student join at this batch, they are 10 pass out, 11 12, they are 12 pass. सीरियसनेस बहुत खराब है. जैसे मोइजुद्दीन, वो क्लास खत्म होने के बाद टाइम पे आए हैं. बोलेगा मालूम नहीं था सर. क्यों नहीं मालूम था? लास्ट क्लास आई डिडंट सेड कि फॉर 2 weeks there will not be Saturday, it will be Sunday class. Sunday 10-10:30 around. It will be Saturday 8 p.m. Sorry, Thursday 8 p.m. and Saturday 11 a.m. But for 2 Saturdays I have classes going on, so it will be on Sunday. तो काहे को नहीं ज्वाइन किए? बोलेगा ये वो सब कोई फायदा नहीं है. आई सेड इफ यू आर सीरियस यू विल बी अटेंडिंग द क्लास. उसके पहले बीच में मिस्टर एक जन था, वो चले गए. वो ऐसे ही करते हैं, 2 महीना हो गया उनको. मतलब अगर मन नहीं है, मत पढ़ी. डोंट स्टडी. डू समथिंग इन विच योर इंटरेस्ट इज देयर. मम्मी पापा को बोलिए मेरे को पढ़ना नहीं है, मेरे को नहीं अच्छा लगता है. अगर वो लोग नहीं समझते, हमसे बात करा दीजिए, हम बोल देंगे, हम समझा देंगे. ही और सी डोंट नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन स्टडी. बेटर है इनको इसका इच्छा का करने दीजिए. माई सन इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन स्टडी. हम उनको नहीं बोल रहे हैं ACCA सीमा करो, नहीं बोल रहे हैं सर. जो इंटरेस्ट करो ना. क्रिकेट खेलने गया है वो, सौरव गांगुली एकेडमी इन कोलकाता. Whether he will be able to do something in cricket, I don't know. He also don't know. But if his interest lies in that, why not he should be doing that only, man. अभी वो 7th क्लास में पढ़ता भी है, मैं नहीं बोल रहा. बट हमारा कोई लॉन्ग टर्म में ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं है कि वो पढ़े, ACCA करे, सीमा करे. तो बी क्लियर इन योर लाइफ. आपको करना क्या है, आपका इंटरेस्ट क्या है, वही करिए. जबरदस्ती किसी का बात मत सुनिए. जो आपकी इच्छा में है वही करिए, और नहीं तो मत करिए. पढ़ाई जबरदस्ती का नहीं होएगा सर. जो भी हम लोग पढ़े हैं, इंद्रदीप, इफ यू डोंट डू द रिकॉर्डिंग यू कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड सर.
सर रिकॉर्डिंग एक्चुअली मैंने चेक किया अभी वो आपका एप्लीकेशन पे, तो एप्लीकेशन में जो क्लास मेरे को दिखा रहा है वो मतलब
सर
ये
डंडा मारेंगे हम, इसीलिए बोला. पिछले दिन हम बोला कि फर्स्ट क्लास आई विल अपलोड ऑन यूट्यूब. इट इज फ्रीली अपलोडेड ऑन यूट्यूब.
अच्छा.
अरे for that reason I am saying do recording. I said still you are not remembering. Why I am saying this, sir? The first class does not require software. It is freely uploaded on YouTube. You go on my channel, Prakash Saraf official YouTube channel. It is there already. This class is not uploaded on YouTube. This will be there in the software, sir.
ओके,
हम
थैंक यू.
बोला तो सर. फिर हम बोला कि अगर ऐसा कुछ होएगा भी तो आप लोग मेल करेंगे, मेरा टीम हेल्प करेगा, लेकिन अभी नहीं हेल्प करेगा सर, अभी कोई नहीं है। कल जब मॉर्निंग में वो लोग आएंगे आपका जो भी प्रॉब्लम है दूर कर देंगे। फॉर एनी टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम स्टूडेंट नीड टू मेल, माई टीम विल हेल्प। साथ में हमने ये भी बोला कि दोज हु आर सीमा स्टूडेंट, ये सब पढ़ने का कोई काम नहीं है सीमा में, कि स्टडी में कोई यूज नहीं। वाई वी आर डूइंग दीज क्लासेस, सो दैट योर बेसिक्स आर क्लियर, बिकॉज जस्ट बाई गेटिंग अ डिग्री देयर इज नो एडवांटेज। तो सीमा स्टूडेंट को मैंने ये क्लासेस ऐसे ही करने बोला है। सीमा का केस स्टडी विच विल बी एग्जाम इन February, we will start separate classes around 28th of December. For 1.5 2 months there will be classes separately for CIMA case study. So Kavya, you need to attend that. These classes you do very well, you don't do doesn't matter. सिलेबस से रिलेटेड नहीं, पार्ट ऑफ द सिलेबस पर, बट केस स्टडी में इसका जरूरत नहीं है।
Yes, sir. I'm just joining to get my basics correct.
Yes,
So yeah.
that is, and be clear in your mind that is not a syllabus content. In case study, nobody is asking how to prepare PL account, balance sheet, and all that. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now,
Sir, I had a query to
yes,
discuss.
yes, yes. Tell me.
It's nothing related to the subject right now.
Yeah, tell me.
So I've been doing the P1 classes, the notes you have given me, like
Huh?
from the mail,
Yeah.
but I'm attending the classes, but I'm not getting time to do the recording sessions again and again. So
You
is
don't
it
need to
fine
do
if I?
again and again. If suppose you are going through the notes and you are understanding, not required to do recording. If suppose you are doing recording just once, already it is extra beyond what is required in the exam. So do recording only once, not again and again.
Oh,
Something which
okay.
are difficult to understand through the notes, go with the recording. Something which is understandable through the notes, don't do the recording. For CIMA student this is चलेगा, बट फॉर ECCA स्टूडेंट नहीं चलेगा, फेल हो जाएंगे वो लोग। ठीक है।
Okay, sir.
Excuse me,
So
sir.
if uh,
यस यस, टेल मी।
I'm sorry for being late, but uh, will this recording be like sent to me personally? Because today, like Kuwait timing here is like different compared to India. So I thought it was like
डू यू
10
डोंट नो कि
p.m.
क्वेट टाइम इज डिफरेंट फॉर संडे ऑलरेडी ऑन थर्सडे, और यू केम टू नो टुडे ओनली?
Today only I came to know, sir. Sorry.
क्या? सो इट इज illogical thing you are saying, sir, please. You already know that on that day also, Thursday, when we were having the class, your timing and my timing was different. Similarly, on Sunday, when I said that we will have 10:30, so our timing and your time will be different. The second thing, the recording of the first class is freely uploaded on YouTube. But this class recording will be in the software. From where? When you joined earlier, around 3 4 days back, you got the recording of the previous batch classes. You got.
I don't know about that one, sir.
So you have not referred that. So now when you will want to see the recording, since you have not understood, you will not be able to see the recordings of this class just after the class, because you have not understood that recording process. So mail us at our mail ID classes. When tomorrow morning my team will come, connect with them and understand how to do the recording once for all. So every time whenever the class is over, automatically after the class, student will get the recording in the software. There is no separate mail for this. It will be uploaded in the software and you can see the recording as per your convenience in that. But today you will not be able to do, because when earlier you have been given the software, you have not yet used the software, so you don't know how to see the recordings. It will be difficult for you to understand. Even though my team has given you all the steps in the mail, how to install the software, but generally students don't able to do on their own. So you will be able to do this recording tomorrow, even though I will upload now only, but it will be difficult for you to understand, because as per me, you have not seen the mail also, which is sent to you for the recording software. है ना?
Yes, sir. I'm really sorry, sir.
No problem. I mean to say, don't take tension, because this is beginning. But if you continue this nature for further 2 3 classes, you will lose all the rhythm. 1 or 2
I
classes,
prom
okay. But if
I
you don't
promised you.
take so seriously that I want to study, then in that case, it will be very difficult, sir, to communicate. So I just now, after the class, you mail us that please help me to install the software so that I can see the recordings. Tomorrow morning, when my team members will come, they will help you understand in properly, 5-10 minutes, how to see the recordings. And once it is done, you can see the recording always for all the classes whenever you are free. Because for recording, there is no time. It is there with you. Live class, there is a time. It is not that when you are free, then I'm there. Huh?
I understand, sir.
Yeah.
I promised you this will never have happen
Yes,
again.
yes, no problem, sir. First 2 classes, 1 class chalega, sir. Yes, Kavya, you were saying something.
Yes, sir. So if I attend the classes regularly from 20th December, which is especially for the CIMA OCS,
I
is
will
that
make you
fine?
pass
Is that
in one
enough?
go. You will
Yes, sir.
pass
I'm
in
giving
one.
the exam in Feb, sir.
Yes, yes, you should be giving because you are good
Yeah.
student. So I think I will not let you down. You will pass in February OCS 1 go.
Yes, sir. Okay,
But
thank you.
those classes you cannot miss. Anytime it is happening. I am telling. Okay?
Surely, sir. I would not miss it.
Yeah. So suppose this is Kaplan exam kit. It is there already in the notes Google Drive shared with all of you. You will say that, sir, I have not received. I can give you proof that you have received. But still, I will mail after the class again the Google Drive link. Download these material from there. Now, in this material, context and purpose of financial reporting, I have just discussed in this context just 4-5 questions, basics, sole proprietorship. You can't do 1 to 133. And then use of double entry and accounting, double entry bookkeeping, ledger, books of prime entry, and books of prime entry. I have not said anything, but double entry bookkeeping, ledger, these I have said. That means 1 to 33 and 41 to 61. Not all questions, some of the question you can try. Where you will get the questions you will be getting after 20 pages. This is financial accounting exam kit. This is page number 13, 14, maybe 16 in your book because this is old material. You have been given 24, 25 material. No problem. In this, you can just try 4-5 questions, not more than that. Say up till 6, not 6, up till 5 only because I have just discussed in last 2 days up till 5. And then there is question number 41 onwards, 1 to 5. And then there is question number 41 onwards. Don't do other question. I have not discussed. You will puzzle yourself. 41 onwards. Just now I said the goods taken by the proprietor for self-use. The first question is that only. Like this, there are many questions. 41 onwards. 41 onwards. Okay? You can try any question you like. At least 41 to 55 out of 15. So 1 to 5, 5 question and 41 to 55. बोलेगा सर आप नहीं कराएंगे, हम कराएंगे सर. I will be solving these questions in front of you in the class. But first of all, you complete both the classes recording. First class freely uploaded on YouTube. Second class I will upload in the software. If today you are not studying, no problem because today study done. I said 2.5 hours every day. So today study is done. The self-study you will be doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday again class is there, 3 days. So first on Monday, maybe morning, evening, if you are working like Indradeep, complete the recordings of first 2 classes. You can do the recordings if you have attended the live class at a speed of 1.5, 1.6. But while doing the recording, pause the video again and again. Wherever you are thinking, I'm not getting, pause it and then think. After doing the recording, make your own notes like this, but don't copy paste this one. Whatever you think that you need to remember, understand, make your own notes, write up.
Sure, sir.
Then I have not solved any question in the class, last class also, current class also. But I said in the last class, if you remember, that everybody should be preparing this format of PL account balance sheet without figures. I categorically said, just by sitting in the class, you cannot understand. In the class, but once I am out, you will be out. So prepare, because Indradeep, you have also not done. Prepare this format of PL account balance sheet without any values, just items. Write this so that you are conversant with what we did in the first class. In the second class, suppose I have written there is a computer purchase. So in your notes, write computer purchase for 50,000. Pass journal entry, write about the equation. Whatever is taught, whatever is recording done, you write that in your own notes for your understanding. And then open these questions 1 to 5. Financial accounting exam kit in your Google Drive link. It is there. I will share the Google Drive link after the class also. Again, don't worry. Download from the Google Drive all the materials. There are many. Open this financial accounting exam kit. Question number 1 to 5, 41 to 55. Do some questions. So Monday you can do recordings. Tuesday you can do self-study based on recording, whatever is taught in the class. Wednesday you can do some extra questions from the exam kit. And then come in the Thursday class. If you are serious, you will be doing this. If you are not serious, still you attend the Thursday class, you will understand. No problem. But after further 1 or 2 classes, you will lose the interest. You will not be understanding many things. You will not be asking again, sir, where is the notes, where class, and because you will think how I will ask again. And after 4 or 5 classes, if you are not with me, the commitment lost, the consistency lost, and everything lost, nothing will be get. फिर you will be asking after 1 month, sir, when is the new batch starting? अरे अभी तो हुआ है. In the first class I said new batch will be March and April beginning. तो मेरे को गुस्सा आएगा कि मैं पहले ही बोल दिया कि नया बैच मार्च एंड अप्रैल बिगिन, फिर ये चालू हो गए. तो क्या इनके लिए डेली डेली नया बैच आएगा? कोई नया बैच और नहीं आएगा. इफ somebody has not yet started up till now चलेगा, लेकिन स्टडी करना पड़ेगा. नहीं करने का मन है, छोड़ छाड़ दीजिए, बेटर है. बेकाम का डिमोटिवेशन वी डोंट नीड टू ब्रिंग. इट इज बेटर दैट इफ वी आर इंटरेस्टेड इन स्टडी वी विल डू, अदरवाइज नॉट. डोंट वेस्ट योर ओन मनी और योर पेरेंट्स मनी. डोंट वेस्ट योर टाइम ऑल्सो. इफ यू आर ईगर टू स्टडी देन ओनली स्टडी, बिकॉज ये तपस्या है. इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू कम ऑटोमेटिकली. और इंद्रदीप आप सोच रहे हम तो लाइव क्लास में था. सर पहले लाइव नहीं रिकॉर्डिंग करते थे, हुआ था? नहीं हुआ. अभी लाइव करेंगे, रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं करेंगे, नहीं होएगा. लाइव रिकॉर्डिंग दोनों करना होएगा, फिर से उसको लिखना होएगा, फिर क्वेश्चन करेंगे, नहीं तो होएगा नहीं सर. आज जो हम बोल रहे हो बात पकड़ लीजिए, तब ठीक होएगा. नहीं तो आप क्लास में होकर भी सब भूल भाल जाएंगे. हम लोग 50 बार पढ़ा है सर, हजारों बार. तो आप एक बार पढ़ के समझ जाएंगे बैठ के, बहुत चंदू है सर, बहुत बात है सर. फिर तो हम लोग तो बुर्बक ही है, हजारों बार पढ़ते हैं, नहीं क्या? सो डोंट थिंक इन दैट वे कि आप खाली क्लास में बैठ के समझ जाएंगे, खुद नहीं पढ़ेंगे. आई सेड इन द फर्स्ट क्लास, every day 2.5 hour study. If your brain level is low, 2.5 hour. If your brain level is good, 2 hours. हर दिन 2-2.5 घंटे पढ़ना होगा, चाहे सीमा हो चाहे ACCA हो. नहीं पढ़ने का मन है, पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं करना है, बेटर है कुछ और करेंगे. जो मन है वो करिए. Next class will be on Thursday. First of all, 8 p.m. fixed. 8 p.m. fixed. First of all, we will be doing some questions from double entry and all that. Then we will be doing going forward. Prime books of prime entry and all that, वो सब डिस्कस करेंगे. लेकिन पहले क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करेंगे. उस दिन आपका डाउट होगा वो करेंगे, नहीं डाउट है तो भी मैं कराऊंगा क्वेश्चंस. ओके, थैंक यू टू ऑल ऑफ यू. Study hard.
Thank you, sir.
Happy Sunday, happy weekend, and study hard. Come in the class with a proper instructions being followed. Okay?
Sure, sir.
ठीक है भाई. Thank you. Tada. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, sir. Once again, sir, I'm really sorry.
Yes. Thank you, sir.